Mr. Anthony Thomas, 84 years old, suffered a heart attack and was taken to the emergency room of the Grand Memorial Hospital. There, he underwent a coronary angioplasty and a stent was inserted into a blocked artery by his cardiologist, Dr. Ruben Karkowski. 2 days after the surgery, the hospital discharges the patient. Mrs. Cynthia Palmer, the officer in charge of generating discharges, informed the patient that his cardiologist referred his case to a home health care entity. She also informed him that an appointment will be scheduled with the cardiologist in 3 weeks and that another appointment with his primary care physician in 4 weeks. Mrs. Palmer asked his patient and his relatives if they had private transportation and a preferred time to attend his appointments. The relatives said they had no transportation available and that the preferred time to attend appointments was during the afternoon. Mrs. Palmer proceeds to book all appointments in Mr. Thomas's report. Mrs. Palmer clicks on the Process Discharges button on the hospital portal and goes directly to the provider's catalog. Mrs. Palmer chooses cardiology as a specialty, Atlanta on the city menu, and Medicare on the health insurance menu. The results show only the cardiologist contracted by Medicare in the Atlanta area. On the menu, the user can opt to start an advanced search. This option creates more specific providers filter. Mrs. Palmer chooses Mr. Thomas on the unprocessed discharges list. When the hospital's EHR communicates the discharges through the HL7 message, the user is able to choose the patient from this list. After this, she indicates the main reason to schedule the appointment. With this information, the system generates recommendations for care. Mrs. Palmer chooses heart attack as the main reason and follow-up coronary angioplasty intervention as the procedure. Here, the user can choose different providers from the cardiology department. Also, the user can access more information about the patient. Mrs. Palmer schedules the appointment in the afternoon following the recommendations made by the patient. The system generates an HL7 message for the appointment schedule and makes it available in the provider's EHR. Mrs. Palmer moves on to schedule an appointment with an organization dedicated to provide this type of services. She schedules transportation for an hour before the appointment with Dr. Karkowski so Mr. Thomas can be on time. Once all the appointments ordered on the discharge report have been scheduled, Mrs. Palmer meets with Mr. Thomas and his relatives to inform them about the arrangement, its recommendations, and about the text messages and emails they will be receiving. Afterwards, she shows them how to access Healthpasskey to view information on the patient's condition. On the day before the appointment with Dr. Karkowski, Miriam receives a text message on her cellular phone. This is a reminder for the appointment schedule for her father to assist a cardiologist's office on the next day. Miriam accesses Healthpasskey on her personal computer and looks for recommendations for the next day's appointment. On the appointment date, Mr. Thomas arrives to the provider's office and immediately the receptionist accesses the patient's discharge report from the EHR. Using Healthpasskey's end-to-end node, she searches for all available clinical information of Mr. Thomas. This way, Dr. Karkowski performs a well-informed evaluation of his patient. During his evaluation, Dr. Karkowski orders several tests and schedules the required appointments. The EHR communicates these appointments to Healthpasskey. The next day, Miriam Thomas receives a text message inviting her to evaluate the treatment received by Dr. Karkowski and his staff.